Hello and welcome to Teresa's Spot for Art, where I love sharing art from my heart and teaching you how to create a little joy in your life through some fun, simple, and quick art projects. Today I'm working on the June flower tutorials, and we are going to start out with the peace rose. I'm not going to lie, it is a little bit of an advanced technique, but if you practice and you get down the double loading and you get down this basic shell stroke, you'll be able to do it. Let me turn you guys around and we will get started. I have out a few colors. One of which is this soft, I think it's buttermilk. What is it? Oh, sunflower. Sunflower and magenta. I'm going to put one corner of my brush in the sunflower, one corner in the magenta, and I'm going to create this little runway, and I am double loading my brush. Okay? We want to get paint in the fibers of our brush. About halfway up. We try to avoid getting them up here in the ferrule. Okay, pink, yellow, and there we go. The first thing I like to do is I will take a thing of paint and I will just have a pencil, and I just want to make a little bit of a circle because this is where my center is going to be. So I have two circles. I'm going to paint two flowers. Let me put this back. Okay. Now I've double loaded my brush. I have the magenta and the yellow. I want my yellow to the outside. I'm going to make a little V. Okay. I'm going to apply a little bit of pressure to my brush as I wiggle it up, and I go from one line of my V to the next. You see my circle is here, but I started it out. My circle is just a guide. I started my petal out a little further. Now I'm going to continue and I'm going to overlap. So I make my V, apply a little bit of pressure to my brush while I come around. Again, magenta and the buttermilk, make a V, apply a little bit of pressure to my brush, and see I'm wiggling the top, but I keep coming back. And I'm turning and turning and turning, applying some pressure to my brush. I'm wiggling the outside, and I'm going around in a circle. Every time I pick up a little bit of paint, on each corner of my brush, I apply a little bit of pressure. Okay. And depending on how big your flower is, that is how many outside petals you will have. You just go around until you close up your circle. So that is the first skirt of this flower. Now if your paintbrush starts getting a little built up with paint, you want to grab a rag or a paper towel and just wipe it off. Okay? And I'm going to go back to my paint, pick up the yellow and the magenta, and reload. You do not have to go into the water. You just don't want your paint all globbing up. Okay? We're going to do the same thing that we did, but now we're going to start overlapping and working our way in, and each layer or skirt or section of our flower is going to have a different number of petals because we're going to get more condensed as we work our way in. I'm still making my V. I'm applying a little bit of pressure. My yellow is still to the outside. I'm overlapping these petals, and now this one only had 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, if you need to wipe it off your brush, grab your paper towel or your rag, wipe it off if you have paint buildup. Okay, I'm going to come back, purple and yellow, load my brush, and we're going to work on the next layer or skirt Okay, we want to overlap in the seams. So where our two other petals meet, that's where we're going to add this next petal. I'm still making the little V, but I'm making it a little bit smaller because this is a smaller petal. Okay, so my rose has 3 layers. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm gonna wipe off my brush. I'm gonna put it in the water, and I'm going to get my liner brush. I'm just gonna put out a little bit of this yellow ochre and a little bit of this dark green. I'm going to take my liner brush. I want to wet it. So a liner brush is best when it's wet and all your fibers come to a point. I'm going to dip into my yellow ochre, and I'm just going to add in the center of my flower. I'm going to wipe off my yellow ochre. I'm going to go into my green. I'm going to add in a few green, wipe off my brush, and then I have this beautiful aqua here, and I just like the way it looks in the center of this flower. And I'm just going to add in some yellow ochre. And there we have our piece rose. That's the one of them. Okay? You can put out another green if you want. I'll put out this green with my dark green. This is citrus. Clean my brush. Give it a rinse. When I rinse my brush with water, I like to give it a squeeze in the paper towel or the rag that I have. I do not want water getting up in here, and then when I turn my brush upside down or right side up, the water drips out. And that's what happened here. So look, I dripped a little water when I was vigorously cleaning my brush. So I just used the paintbrush and sopped up the water. Okay. I'm going to give you a bonus leaf here. Dark green, light green, runway. Dark green, light green, runway. Then I want to add a little bit of magenta here to my green side. And I'm going to add a leaf. This one leaf, dark, light. And I'm going to add another leaf and then pull a stem. Okay. Wash my brush. And I'm going to do my second flower down here on the bottom. So again, magenta, this sunflower yellow. You could use white. You can use dark purple and light purple. You can use magenta and white. You can use red and white. It's totally up to you. You want a dark value and a light value. I like the way these two work together, this sunflower and this magenta. And I'm gonna come down here. I'm gonna start my second row. My second flower. So I do my triangle. This one I'm starting closer to my center, the circle I painted. I want this one to be a little bit smaller, and I'm making it a little bit tighter. I'm making my shell strokes a little bit smaller. And I'm just working around. If you end up having 7, that's okay. Yours may be a little bit wider than mine. Each time I make the V, and I go from line to line, and they all overlap a little bit. Okay, so I have my first skirt. Pick up my yellow, pick up my magenta, and again I'm going to do my second skirt, but I want these to overlap where my other two petals met. Okay, they're getting staggered a little bit, almost like basket weaving. You have a seam, then you have a seam, then you have a seam. Okay, my paint is getting a little muddy, so I'm going to come over to my rag. I'm going to wipe it off, and I'm going to double load again. Get my runway going. Okay, magenta, yellow. Come back to my project. Okay, now this one's a little tight to add a whole nother skirt, so I'm just going to come in here to my magenta and I'm going to dot and close it in. Okay, wash my brush. I'm going to go back to my liner, into my yellow ochre, and I'm going to start adding in dots for my center. This one ended up only being 2 skirts, and that's totally okay. Clean my brush, go to my green, add some dark for my center, clean my brush, go to my aqua, and add some blue for my center. Clean my brush again. I'm going to add a couple of more leaves, and we will be done with our piece rose. Green, light green, runway, some magenta on there, dark green, light green, and go here, push to a point, push to a point, make a stem, put one here, this one's going to go off the page. That's why I keep this cardboard underneath, so as I'm going off the page I can just paint freely without worrying about where the edge is. It's kind of like I'm tricking my brain into thinking that the canvas doesn't really end, because sometimes our mind is telling us there's no more room, but if I think there is, because I have this canvas underneath it, then it helps. And there we have our piece rose. Thank you for joining me. Hit the subscribe button and I will see you next time. Hello everyone, it is Teresa from Teresa's Spot for Art, where I love sharing art from my heart. Today we are doing the Calla lily, so I'm going to turn you guys around and we will get started. I have out my little canvas here for my Calla lily. I have out a couple of yellows, which I'm going to put the yellow ochre and this butter, I think it's bumblebee yellow, on the same side. I'm picking up white on the other side of my brush. So 2 darks and 1 light, and look how we have this nice variation going here. Okay, so I'm going to dip 1 corner in my dark, 1 corner in my white, and the first thing I want to do is make this little U stroke. So I'm standing up my brush on the chisel edge, I'm pushing down, I'm making a little bit of the letter U, and then I'm standing up. Let me show you that again. We'll make 2 flowers. Okay, I'm on my chisel edge, I'm pushing down, I'm making a little bit of a letter U, and then I'm pushing up. Okay, let me fix the fibers on my brush over here on my plate. We want our brush to have a nice chisel edge, and when I say that, what I mean by is this. We want our brush, our fibers to all come together, and we want our chisel edge to be nice and straight and thin. I'm going to pick up some yellow. I'm going to put some white. Again, I'm going to stand up. I'm going to push down and out, and then I'm going to come back in to that little U that we painted. Okay? Let me straighten out my bristles again. Pick up some yellow, pick up some white, and do the same thing up here. I'm going to stand up. Now I'm going to push out, and as I come around, I'm going to fold in my white. Okay, let's do another one of those. Let me get the glob off my brush. Okay. I'm going to show you, I'm going to dip in my dark yellow and my light yellow and my white. So I have dark yellow, light yellow, and white all on my brush. Get a nice chisel edge going there. My white is to the top. I'm standing up. I'm going to give a little push out, come around, and end where I made my U. Again, I'm going to pick up some white. I'm going to pick up some gold. Let me fix my brush again. I always want my chisel edge to be nice like that. Some nice fresh white on the tip. Push down. Put a lot of pressure and come out, and then I want to roll the white over the top. See how we made that nice little pocket in there? And I'm going to go get my liner brush. Make sure it's nice and clean. I'm going to go and dip the end into my darker yellow, which is my yellow ochre, and I just want to dot in the center into my Calla lily here. So I'm just putting a series of dots, overlapping but random, right in here into this pocket inside my Calla lily. Okay, here's my brush. Pick up some green. I put a little water in my green because I've been painting. My paint is starting to get a little bit dried out, so I add a little bit of water. I'm getting a good mix here with my liner brush. I want to roll it between my fingers to make a nice point. I'm going to add that, and then I'm going to come down and make a stem. So I just want to cup the bottom of my flower. I'm rolling my liner brush between my thumb and my forefinger, and I'm making the stem on my Calla lily. If you want, you can go back into your larger brush. Pick up your greens. I'm double loading my brush, just like I did with the yellows, but this time I'm using dark green and light green. I think this is Thicket and Citrus Green. These are Plaid Folk Art multi-surface paints. We're going to need some more dark green. And then you can just make a leaf that either you've learned from me or you are comfortable making on your stalk. And there we go. There's our Calla lilies. Thanks for watching. This month we did Calla lily, Hydrangea, and the Peace Rose. Hope you enjoyed them, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Catch you next time. Hello and welcome to Teresa's Spot for Art, where I love showing art from my heart and teaching you how to create a little joy in your life through some fun, simple, and quick art projects. Welcome to June's flower of the month. We are working on a hydrangea. I'm going to turn you guys around and we will get started. Okay, I have out a few colors here because I've been working on some painting. My hydrangea is going to be pink and white, so I have out this magenta and white. I have a couple of greens here. I am using a filbert brush. I don't often use a filbert brush. A filbert brush is round on the top. See how it's curved at the top? A little half moon, as opposed to a flat brush. Here we go. That is just flat across the top. Okay, so this would be a flat brush. This would be a filbert brush. I like to use a filbert brush when I do hydrangeas, but you can use a flat brush as well. The first thing I'm going to do is, I just want to put a little dot of pink paint there, and I'm just going to spread it out in a glob. No rhyme or reason. There we go. It could be as big or as little as you want it to be, and obviously the more that you play with it, the bigger it'll get. So, like that. And I'm going to clean my brush. I like to use a rag, paper towel, or something to dry my brush. I don't want water to be all stuck up in here, so when I stand my brush up, it drips out. Okay? You double load a filbert the same way as you would double load a flat brush. So I'm putting one side in the magenta and one side in the white. So one in the magenta, one in the white, and then I make my little runway here. Hydrangeas are fun. They're repetitive, and they're a series of basically small 5-petal flowers. So you're going to get your filbert brush, you're going to stand it up, you're going to put a little pressure on it and give it a twist to a point. You're making a teardrop shape. So I'm standing up, give it a twist, standing up, give it a twist, and then standing up, give it a twist, stand up, give it a twist. And now I have this little 5-petal flower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's almost like making a gingerbread. I'll show you on the big piece of paper. Sometimes I like to say it's the head, arm, leg, leg. Okay, that's a larger, exaggerated form of this. Get my scraps already. Okay, so magenta, white, it's repetitive and a lot of overlapping. So I'm applying some pressure, and then I twist the handle of my brush so all my petals meet in the middle. I'll pick up some magenta, I'll pick up some white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we just keep going. And we layer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as you pick up paint on your brush, the colors will start to blend. You'll start ending up with more pink, more white, a lot of the values of your pink. Some will be lighter, some will be darker. And the important thing is to just keep overlapping and working your way in to fill in your flower. Picking up some more magenta and some more white. I'm applying a little bit of pressure and I'm giving a little bit of a twist, and all my strokes are going in. I'm starting on the outside, I'm going in. Your brush gets full of paint. You want to grab your paper towel or your rag, wipe it off, and go back into your paint again. Stand up, give a little push and a twist. Push and twist, push and twist. Push and twist, push and twist. And we're just going to keep filling up this circle with these little 5-petal flowers. It's important to overlap. And when we get to the end, I'm going to show you how we're going to finish it off. Some of my flowers are pinker, some of them are more white, some of them are dark magenta, and that is okay. If you put the wrong end of your paint in the opposite color, that's okay. Just wipe off your brush and go back into the right color. I do that all the time. Sometimes I'll put my white in the magenta or my magenta in the white. Then you just want to wipe off your brush and start over. All of my brush strokes are going in to the center, and I'm giving a little bit of a twist right here. And a little bit of a twist right there as I pull in. So I have standing up, twist, stand up, twist, stand up, twist, twist, twist. And I'm just working my way around, overlapping. We do the base layer first. So if we have some gaps and it's not perfect, we won't know it. You have that base layer under there, and that hides or camouflages the underneath. Okay? Then if you have any spaces like here where you need singles around the edge, I'm just pulling in now, little ones in between. I'm making it rounder, and I'm just going around the edge of my flower. Okay? I have my big hydrangea right there. I'm going to rinse my brush, and I'm going to go into my liner brush, but I'm not going to use my liner brush for the brush. I'm going to use my liner brush for the handle. I have, I'm going to put out some bright yellow. I have sunflower, I have yellow ochre. Now I'm going to put out this bumblebee. Okay? I'm just going to use the back of my brush, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to put a little yellow center in all of my 5-petal centers. Now, can I tell exactly where my 5-petal centers are? Not completely, but that's okay. Because the fact that I'm putting these yellow dots draws our eye and makes us think that's where the center is of the 5-petal flower. Let me dry that off. I don't think you could see my centers very well. There we go. See that? And now we have this beautiful, beautiful hydrangea. I can grab my bigger brush again. This is a number 16 flat brush. But in the paintbrush world, brushes are not uniform. There's no metric or standardized sizing for paintbrushes. So what is a 16 in a plaid is not necessarily a 16 in a Princeton or an artist's brush from Michael's. So you just have to go by size. This is a little bit more than a 1/2 inch wide. It's one of my favorite brushes, and it is a flat brush. I'm just going to come in here, and I'm just going to add in a couple of leaves. This is a wiggle leaf. It is in my course. It is also a little bit of an advanced technique. It's one of my favorite leaves. Make sure you have a stem, but you could also just come in here and hold your brush on the flat and pull, and come back up here with your light green, hold your brush on the flat, go to the point and pull a stem, and there we have our hydrangea. Thanks. What do you guys think? Just a series of little 5-petal flowers. You can do it in purple, you could do it in blue, you can do it in yellows. Make it any color you want. Thanks for joining. Hit the subscribe button, and I will see you next time.